If you love Dollar Tree, Crafter Square, and DIYs as much as I do, then you are going to love today's video. I'm Jamie, the crafty DIY guy. Welcome back to my channel. Now for this first project, we're going to take some pieces of wood, this scrap wood that you can pick up at Crafter Square. I've got 4 pieces here that are kind of long. I've got 2 pieces of the square. I've got 4 pieces that are kind of a middle size, I guess you can say. And then again, we've got a couple more pieces of those wood squares. So we've got kind of 12 pieces here in total because we've got 4, 4, and 4. Now we're going to go ahead and remove these tags. These tags were extra pesky this time. Sometimes my tags come off super easily. These were not the case. Now we're going to start building a structure that's going to kind of look like a lantern, honestly. And I do think these would be amazing lanterns. Now I've got my brad nailer here that I'm going to use. If you don't have this tool, you could certainly use wood glue, you could use regular nails, you could use screws, totally up to you, certainly very flexible. Now, I think these are fantastic bases to use as lanterns, but I'm going to actually use them as plant stands. I'm going to take mine, and I wanted to add this round wood originally. It's a little pricey. I also didn't have a second one, and my Dollar Tree, of course, was out of it. So I used these 2 kind of Valentine's Day signs. These are great. Make sure you get the ones that don't have any of the glitter or any of the other kind of schmutz on them, because you want to make this as easy as possible. Go ahead and remove those tags. The heat gun actually helps a lot with removing the tags. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to actually just glue them down on the top of each one of my kind of lantern structures, because again, I'm going to turn these into plant stands. They could be side tables, super versatile. Now I'm just using hot glue. If you wanted something more sturdy and it's going to be outside, I would definitely use your E6000 and that wood. I took mine out and spray painted in black, and this is what they look like. I absolutely love them as a side table, and I really love them as plant stands out on my front porch. Now for this next DIY, I'm going to take this love sign that I kind of picked up in the home decor section, and then these stickers. They have moved all these types of stickers into my Crafter Square section, and when I saw this one, I thought it was almost the perfect size for this love sign. Now, I did remove the wreath there. I'm going to save the wreath for something later. I'm going to remove the twine and the staples on the back, and then of course we're going to do my favorite thing in the world, removing those tags. And then for the sign itself, we're going to take the side that has no love, the plain side of this, and I'm just going to give it 2 coats of my chalk paint. I'm just using a white Waverly. I think this one is called Ivory. I believe it's what it's called. And I have a little bit of a tip here for you. If you're painting these kind of reversed sides of these signs, if you take a piece of sandpaper and just kind of go lightly over the back of it, it actually helps with the paint. I found that the paint really adheres much better to this. So again, this is just 2 coats. Take out your heat gun, help speed up that process if you're impatient like me. Pretty cut and dry here, pretty standard. Get that cut and dry, with the rain. Anyway, the next part that we're going to do is we are going to add our sticker. Now that sign is a giant sticker, and it is almost the perfect size. Now go ahead and place it on your sign, and then you will kind of trim it down as needed. And then the other cool thing that we're going to do to this is we're just going to add a very simple beaded hanger to the top of this. I love working with these beads. You can get them in all different colors now at Dollar Tree. You don't even have to paint them. This is such a cute sign. Find the beauty in the rain. I really love the way that this one turned out. Now for this next Crafter Square DIY, we are going to take this stencil, also a piece of wood from Crafter Square, and then I have these kind of hardware hooks that I picked up in the home decor area at Dollar Tree. Pretty straightforward here. You're going to just paint your piece of wood. I am using that same ivory chalk paint that I used before. I believe it's called Ivory. I think it's Waverly. And again, pretty standard here. This was only actually 1 coat though, because I kind of wanted a little bit of that wood grain to show through just a little bit. So when you're doing this, obviously paint it to whatever, you want. But the most important thing is you are going to want to make sure that paint is good and dry before you move forward with the stencil. Now, I did use my heat gun, but then also I let it sit for about 2 hours just to make sure that that white paint was good and dry, because I didn't want my paint to start bleeding any. Now, I'm using a blue color. This is a navy color chalk paint that is, I believe, Deco Art. And I am just going to start painting away on my stencil. Now, I've got my little kind of spongy stippling brush or stencil brush that you can pick up at Dollar Tree, also in the Crafter Square section, by the way. And we're just going to kind of pounce. You want to pounce up and down. I always kind of not quite a dry brush, or go a little bit heavier than that. And just the most important thing is holding your stencil in place, and then obviously making sure that you're using kind of those even pounce marks. Just pretend you're like twerking on the stencil and you're getting good coverage. Now, I did use my heat gun again to kind of speed this up and make sure that there were no kind of issues there. I did kind of go back and tidy up any kind of areas I felt like needed some touch ups. And then this is what the stencil looked like. For this one, I wasn't totally happy with the way it turned out, but because it is kind of a rustic approach, I was okay with it. Now I am going to add these hooks. However, the screws that come with these hooks are a little too long. So I did swap them out for some shorter screws. I just used one of those hooks because I'm going to put another one in my bathroom. And pretty straightforward here. I love the way this turned out. I think that this is super, super cute and very, very adorable. Now, this little bucket that I have is actually left over from Christmas, but I thought that this could be such a fun Crafter Square project as well. Because if you find any of these buckets, or even if you just find a galvanized bucket, grab a stencil from Crafter Square, turn it into something. This one has hope already on it. Super, super cute. I'm taking my chain here and I'm just going to remove one of the chains, because this plant hanger that I picked up at Dollar Tree has 3 chains on it. I only need one. I'm going to take a pair of pliers there, just kind of pry it off of there. And then I'm going to take my chain and hook it to the 2 little handles that are on either side of that metal bucket. That did come from Dollar Tree, by the way. I believe it was around Christmas time, but I've seen some of these buckets in the Crafter Square section. And if you have a stencil or even rub-on transfers, you can easily kind of customize your own bucket. Now, I added a few rocks in the bottom of mine just to help weigh it down, and then I'm going to add some boxwood stems. You've got the cutest little hanging plant. How cute is this for your front porch? I love this so, so much. Now, for this next DIY, you can get these great pieces of wood from Crafter Square that are kind of routed with the edges. And then Jot has these brand new kind of thumbtacks out that are pearl. And I thought this would be a perfect little sweet DIY. I'm going to take that piece of wood, I'm going to sand it down again. This is a piece from my mouse sander because I can't find any of my sandpaper. My craft room is disgustingly unorganized right now. And I grabbed the first piece of sandpaper I could, and you know what? It worked, so that's okay. I did go ahead and wipe that off, and then I'm adding a coat of my chalk paint here. I'm using that white chalk paint up in that little container that I have that's left over from Christmas. I did 2 coats of this, and I did do it on both sides of this. I went ahead and made sure I got the top nice and covered, and then I kind of worked my way onto the sides and those little routed pieces. Any of those kind of rough patches that you see on these pieces of wood, they do paint a lot easier if you do give them a quick sand. Now, you can pick up sandpaper at Dollar Tree. Again, I just used my piece from my mouse sander because it was the first piece that I saw. Next time at Dollar Tree, I'm definitely going to pick up one of the packages of sandpaper, or even the sanding kind of blocks that they have. Those are actually really, really good. So now that I've got 2 coats of my kind of paint here and ready to go, we are going to start to add our pearls. And I'm going to treat the pearls almost like they are a trim. So I'm going to start in each one of the corners and then work my way into the centers and then just kind of finish them off. And you've got the absolute cutest candle stand. I love the way that this looks. I think this is such a sweet addition to a dresser or a nightstand. I really think this could be super cute in a tiered tray. I really, really love the way that this looks. Now, this next DIY is going to also incorporate those same pieces of wood that I used in the very first DIY. And then Dollar Tree now has these little miniature wooden pots. You can find these in kind of where the spring decor is. And I thought that they were adorable. Now, there are 3 pots per package, I think. And you want to grab 2 of them because you're going to want at least 4 pots that are the same size. If you want to go with the larger pot, then you're going to have to buy 4 packages of those. But it's never a bad thing to have a bunch of supplies on hand, right? So I'm taking my antique wax or Waverly antiquing wax, and I'm putting a pretty heavy coat on there, as you can see. Now, I'm using a paper towel. Don't do that. Just it made such a mess. I typically have like a cloth or something that I use whenever I'm applying antique wax. And I just kind of kept rubbing it until it got to the color and the consistency that I liked. Those edges are so rough. Even with sandpaper, they were still kind of rough. But eventually, it turned out really cute. Now, for the little pots, painting those, I kind of did it the same way with the kind of leftover remnants of the antique wax from the from the Waverly Antiquing Wax. Now, here's a tip: hand sanitizer. If your hands are messy like mine were, use some hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer, rubbing it in over and over and over, like you see me doing here, will actually help clean your hands. It gets a lot of chalk paint, it gets antiquing wax, it gets some acrylic paints off, and you don't have to get up and go into the bathroom or to your, washing station and clean up. You can just sit there and craft and have nice, clean, sanitized hands at the same time. So that's a little tip for you. And also, if you have one of these silicone mats like I have, you can use the hand sanitizer to clean up your workspace when you are done so you can move forward. Now that we've got everything dry, including our hands and our workstation, I'm going to take my pots and I'm going to glue them onto the bottom of that piece of wood. I did paint both sides of the wood with the antique wax there. And those kind of square pieces you get from Crafter Square, you'll notice that one side of them is just kind of rough and gnarly, and the other side is very smooth. I've got the smooth side that's going to be facing up. Now, for the little pots here, these are going to serve as the feet of my candle stand. I'm doing another candle stand. This one is kind of rustic, super, super cute. Love the way this looks on the dresser. And I think that this is a really adorable and easy DIY. All right, everybody, that's today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you are brand new here to the channel, then hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button and that like button and hang out with us for a little while. If you are one of my returning subscribers, thank you guys so, so much. I truly appreciate you being here with me on this journey, and I'm looking forward to bringing you a lot more content very, very soon. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye. Bye, y'all.